What's going on, people? Georgio Savvides here, founder of the Hip Hop Orchestra, as well as the host of the Hip Hop Orchestra Presents podcast. And I got a really exciting announcement to finally make with everyone, is that we have our very first official sponsor for the podcast. Now, they are an amazing company called Odin's Vote, who are extremely dedicated in bringing you the very best in officially licensed merchandise from pop culture. And when I mean the very best, I mean the very best. They provide things like keyrings, caps, t-shirts, to Funko Pops, to statues from all over, such as DC, Marvel, Disney, The Mandalorian, Harry Potter, music artists from all over the place, and they are ridiculously good. I've got a couple of things to show you on offer at the moment. This trust with their stuff is amazing. So, t-shirts, like I mentioned, like the one I'm wearing right now. It's got Rocky right here, which I absolutely love. Or, like I said, also got Funko Pops as well, 3.75 inches and 10 inches. I've got a couple of 10 inches right here for you. I've got Post Malone right here, and I've also got Biggie right here, who I absolutely love. These are so sick. Odin's Vote, trust me, they are amazing. Now, I'm going to leave the link below in the video right here, and also in the description below as well in all future videos from the podcast. But trust me, Odin's Vote are amazing. Website is www.odinsvote.co.uk. Get in touch with them now and start buying ASAP. But also, before I forget as well, I just want to say the biggest thank you to Odin's Vote for sponsoring the podcast. It means the absolute world to me. Thank you. And trust me, get in touch with them right now. And I hope you enjoyed today's episode. And peace. Welcome to a brand new edition of the podcast, and today we're joined by another amazing guest, super amazing producer Danny Ives. How you doing, brother? You okay?
Yeah, I'm doing well, man. How about yourself?
Yeah, not doing too bad, thank you. How's life? Okay.
Yeah, man. I recently moved. Came back from LA like not too long ago. I was out there for about a month.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So just been trying to keep busy, man, and
Yeah,
continue to work on some more music.
that's it. What was LA like?
It was great, man. I mean, it was kind of like an unexpected trip. I went out there with me and my team, and we were just out there working with a bunch of people. We worked on like a ton of new music, some which should be coming very soon. So
Brilliant.
yeah, stay tapped in on my pages, man. You'll be able to see all of that.
That's amazing. How big's your team that you work with?
So right now, we just have like a few of us. So we have about four of us total. We all live together, and usually, like, if we're gonna go and work, we go as a team, and everybody like kind of contributes and has different things to contribute to help people create a record. If we're working with other people, or if we're just working on records ourselves. So
That's
yeah.
amazing. Have you worked with the same people for a while now, or do you like change up every now and then?
I mean, like a lot of the people that I started working with at the beginning of my career, like, I mean, I still work with them to this day. But it's actually interesting. Everybody that I work with, we actually all kind of have like a bit of a history. They are all people that I grew up with. One of them is a producer and engineer, an artist. He's actually my step cousin.
Oh, really?
And then one of the artists and songwriters that I work with, he's actually like I knew him from like way back, like growing up. His older brother was in the same grade as me, and like he started doing music and stuff, so we connected and started working. And then the other member of my team, he's a super talented photographer. He also produces as well. And he may or may not be my cousin. We're still trying to figure out the family tree there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's interesting. I lived in like a few different places. Actually, like grew up. Actually, I went to school in Boston, but I grew up in Connecticut, and then I lived in Brooklyn, New York, for a few years. But now I live in New Jersey. But like I thought it was interesting because Connecticut doesn't like have much of a music scene. So
Yeah.
like I always thought that I had to go somewhere else to kind of find like the people I work with, and the guys that I currently live with and I'm working with, you know, we all have like a good chemistry, and it helps that we kind of have like that
Yeah.
background before music.
Mm.
So, you know, it just kind of makes everything easier and flow better.
Yeah, amazing. But how did you get started in music in the first place? What got you into producing and so forth? Because your stuff is amazing. I'm a massive fan of your stuff.
Thank you, man. I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Anytime, man.
Yeah, I mean, I always kind of had an interest in music. It's funny that like I never really thought about doing it seriously. So one of the members of my team that I was talking about, he's my step cousin. So him and my actual cousin, because they're stepbrothers, they actually used to work with FL Studio back in the day. Like they've been like producing for like a super long time. So
Mm.
um, like before that, I was kind of always into music, and like you know, I would always be looking at the album credits, seeing who like the producers are.
Mm.
I don't know if you remember too on MTV, like
Of
when they would show
course.
like those clips of like Timbaland and stuff in the studio,
Mm.
Just Blaze. Like
Yeah, of
I just
course.
thought that was so cool. So then like when I saw my cousins like you know like creating music on the computer, like they didn't even know that like I was paying attention. That's kind of how I learned like the basics of it. So
Mm.
I kind of just started messing around with it like a little bit, but like never really that seriously. Like as I mentioned to you before, I went to school out in Boston and I actually studied finance
Oh,
while
really?
I was there. But yeah, so then I just started like producing like here and there, like when I had time. Um, and then my senior year of college, I met this artist that he like I just happened to come back to my dorm room one day and he's playing guitar with one of my roommates. So then I was just like he told me to check out some of his music and I was like, oh man, like this kid's pretty dope. And then I played him some of my beats and like we got to like the last one. It was like the first beat I ever made. Like I
Yeah.
flipped this like Isley Brothers song called Summer Breeze.
Yeah, knew it.
So like we ended up he was like, oh man, like that's crazy. And like I had made that beat like a few years prior. So we kind of like reworked it a little bit. And then it ended up coming out as a record. And this was like maybe like a few months before I was about to graduate.
Mm.
This is in May 20 like late like the spring of 2014, I would
Yeah.
say. Um, so through that, he was actually using Superphone by Ryan Leslie. I don't know if you're familiar with the Superphone
Yeah,
platform
I
that he's
am. Yeah,
doing.
yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, so through that, um, he wanted to come and bring like Ryan Leslie to our school to like come and speak and everything like that. And I had done like some events on campus, like I was part of a few different groups. So I kind of knew the people we had to talk to, so I had helped them set that up. And then, you know, I brought Ryan to our school. And then that's how I met Ryan, and he was working on his MZRT album at the time, and he was doing this thing with these different producers, like so that you could submit music to him. So I mean, like I was kind of going through the whole track of like you know applying to finance jobs and stuff, and I was thinking I was gonna take that route. And I'm like, you know, if something happens with music, like that would be cool, but like I'll give it my shot and we'll see what happens. And then, you know, I met Ryan like right before I graduated, and then you know I started sending him some tracks. He ended up using a few on his album, and then you know I just kind of like never looked back after that.
Yeah, I was gonna get into Ryan Leslie actually, because I know that that album MZRT, I've been listening to that almost every day since it came out.
Oh
And
wow, man.
yeah, I know that you produced Count It and Millions as well on the album.
Yeah, yeah, millions. I did with BMR.
Yeah.
So
Oh my god! I mean, what was it like to actually feature on someone like his album in the first place? That's been amazing.
yeah, I mean, you know, it was crazy because I mean, I'm sure you just like anybody else, and myself, like I like grew up watching like his videos like
Yeah.
on YouTube, and I was like, man, that's like so crazy. And then like to actually be in one of the videos, like that was kind of crazy to me. Like if you had told me that like I would have ever been in one, I would have been like, no, no way. Like I would have never
Yeah.
believed you. But it was crazy. I mean, I learned a lot from him. That was like really dope, and that's kind of what inspired me to keep going. Like, you know, I thought it
Yeah.
would be cool if he even liked one of my beats, but to use like a few of them, like, yeah, that definitely gave me like a lot of motivation.
That's amazing. I mean, what kind of advice did he give you when you're working together?
Like, you know, he just kind of showed us like how you can like really create a record, how you can just kind of start with like a beat and like how you can build so much more on top of that to get like the quality sound, and then just kind of showing you like different ways of um trying to like you know create stuff that's gonna work for artists. Because a lot of the times I think like you'll notice when you start producing like or people will start making beats and it kind of sounds empty, and then you know you kind of have like that beat battle world where people a lot and like those beats are amazing, like I'm definitely not knocking it. Like I love listening to some of those beats, but like, like an artist will never get on it. So like he kind of just like taught us like the difference between that, and like that's like such a huge gem. And like, it's like amazing when you start to look at it, like how something can seem so complex, but it's actually like very simple. So like
Mm,
that was kind of probably like the biggest gem that like I took away from him. And,
yeah.
and just like reverse engineering tracks too. It's like, if there's like a song you like, just try to recreate it, so that you can kind of learn like how they made everything sound like it did. And that, I think that was a huge gem as well. So
Yeah, for sure. I mean, would you ever do beat battles, do you think?
I have in the past.
Have you?
I participated in some of the I Standard. I don't know if you're familiar with the I Standard company,
Yeah, yeah.
but I did like a few of those. Just to like kind of get my feet wet, just get a little bit more feedback on my tracks. And it was like a great way to like meet some people. I definitely met some producers there that I'm still cool with and work with to this day. And they provide like a lot of opportunities, I think, for producers. So like shout out
Mm,
to I Standard. Um, I also did like another one that Atlas the Plug he hosted. It was he did it with Nick Paps,
mm,
who's signed to Meek Mill. That was like a couple years ago. I did that. That was probably like the last beat battle I did.
yeah.
And that was dope too. So like that helped me like meet a lot of different people. So yeah, man. I mean, I think it's a great way to build your brand and just kind of get your foot in the door and like start meeting people, man. Like especially if you don't really know a lot of people, man. Like you gotta start somewhere, and it's also a great way to get feedback on your beats and stuff. So
Yeah, for
I,
sure.
I would highly recommend it if you're just starting out.
Yeah. I mean, were you nervous participating in them at all?
What was that?
Were you nervous being a part of them?
Oh yeah, for sure, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I had a confidence in my beats, but at the same time, it's just like you're getting on stage in front of people and stuff, and I don't do that all the time, so
Yeah.
it's a little bit of a change of pace. But you know, once you kind of like keep doing it more, actually, what, I don't think you ever really get over being like nervous a little bit. I think if you care about something, like you're gonna get a little bit nervous beforehand because
Of,
you want it to go well.
of course. I know that you're also part of Instros Only as well over here in the UK.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I forgot to mention that as well. Pino, man, shout out
Yeah,
to Pino. I
shout
actually
out to
met
Pino.
him.
Yeah.
I actually met him when I was working on Ryan Leslie's album. He was submitting some tracks too, and he had some dope stuff. And then we've just been connected ever since. And he asked me to be a part of it. And I was like, yeah, absolutely, man. Whatever you
Yeah.
need.
Shout out
Great
to
guy.
Pete. Yeah, it really is, man. Shout out to Pino. I'm a good friend. We're good friends, actually. He's an amazing producer as well. Really fantastic. So give
Yeah.
him a shout out. But going back to actually R. Leslie, actually, when you submitted your tracks, did you end up changing them at all? Or were they like fully finished when you sent them?
I mean, it would be different. Like, so, like the way that we used to submit it is, it was kind of through like a private SoundCloud, and we would just upload it. And
Mm,
whenever Ryan would get a chance, he would listen to the beats. If he liked them, like he would like them, and then leave you a comment, saying like maybe some of the things that he may want changed, or just to send him the beat, or like there was different feedback. It really depended on what he wanted to do. But like I could say at least for my tracks, I know like he added a lot more. Like he ended up playing some piano,
mm,
um, and like playing some like live drums on some of the tracks we had. I mean, if you see like the Millions video, like he had hired a
yeah,
string quartet to come in, and everything like that. So that was like amazing to see like how like it started like kind of like what I mentioned before. Like it could start as a cool idea, but like he showed me like how to really like bring a track to life, and like how you can like incorporate a lot of live elements, and like how it makes like such a difference like in the music when you hear it.
of course. I mean, what was it like for you to actually watch it back and then know that Ryan Leslie was playing some extra stuff on top of your tracks? Must have been
Uh,
unreal.
yeah, I was like sitting there when he was doing it. I was like, oh wow, man, like this is like amazing. Like it's you know like that guy is like amazing at what he does. He's a genius. So
Mm,
just witnessing that like in person, like is definitely like an inspiring moment. Like I could say that's definitely something I'll never forget.
of course. I mean, have you kept in touch since?
I saw Ryan like maybe like a couple years ago. I ran into him like in Brooklyn actually, just like randomly. But it's been a little bit since I talked to him. You know how
Yeah,
Ryan is, man. He's
yeah,
moving around a lot.
of
He's running a
course.
full company and stuff. So, but yeah, man, it's always love with Arles anytime I see him, man. Shout out to him.
Shout out to Ryan Leslies. He's one of my favorite all-time producers as
Yeah,
well.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, if you make music or you're into music, like Ryan Leslie is like he's like your favorite producer, like favorite producer.
100%. Because you mentioned obviously the videos earlier, and I was one of those guys who used to watch, like, just started them and watch them almost like religiously every single day. Of watching him just make it every single day, and I loved him, absolutely loved him. Remember, that's what I spoke about for ages. Like, have you seen the new Ryan Leslie videos? You've seen it. You've seen it. It's amazing. But talk about another producer, my all-time favorite producer, Timbaland. As
Timberland.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, one of the first times I saw you actually, well, apart from the Ryan Leslie album, was obviously on Timberlands Beat Club, which you were a part of. I think what, twice now? I think you've been on there,
No, I've been
or
on
just
there
the
like a few
once.
times. Like it's definitely been a few times I submitted. I don't post it all the time. I think they actually post the streams to YouTube. If you
Mm,
type in like Timberland Beat Club, you can find it. I'm sure if you type my name in, like whatever streams I'm in, show up. I'm not sure like exactly all of the ones that are out there. But yeah, man. Shout out to Timberland for doing it. I mean, I would say that's like probably one of the positive things to come out of COVID. I think if COVID never happened, I don't know if he would have ever done like that show or would have had the time to like give producers that platform. So I think it's an amazing tool. Um, and it's like amazing that you can submit to like one of the greatest producers like of all time and like get his feedback. So I think it's a good way for you to gauge kind of where you're at with
mm,
your production. And like when I sent it in, like I had no expectation. I'm like, hopefully he likes it. And it was great for me. I mean, it helped me really like build a little bit more of a following like on YouTube and Instagram. So it just kind of helped my brand overall. So and it helped me to connect with like a few different people as well, who I've been working with and stuff like that. So yeah, man, shout out to Timbaland. Like, I'm
mm.
glad that he was filling the tracks.
Oh, he loved it, man, as well. I loved it because in one of the videos, I think, where he's wearing the white t-shirt, that second and fourth beat, I can't tell you how many times I've watched that video back. I've looped it back so many times. It's amazing. I mean,
Man, I appreciate that.
anytime by that. But what's it like to actually get that feedback from him as well? Like Timberlake's like my all-time favorite producer. I mean, for you to get that kind of feedback from him, I mean, what was that like for you?
Yeah, like the crazy part is like I was watching that live like when it happened,
Yeah.
and I was like, I almost felt like, you ever seen that video of the kid opening the Nintendo 64?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Right, that's kind of how like I felt inside, like like it was crazy, man. I was like, man, like I grew up like listening to so much of this dude's music, and like he's definitely
yeah.
like one of my favorites, I could say. And to like see his reaction,
Yeah.
I was like blown away. Like it to me, it was kind of like it's almost like that same feeling that I got when I had gotten the positive feedback from Ryan, and he was saying that he wanted to use my tracks and stuff like that. So like it's always nice to get like that validation from people that you look up to and respect. I think that definitely can provide like a lot of motivation for people, and it just kind of shows that you're on the right track as well. So
Of course. I mean, what you mentioned the submission process. I mean, what was that submission process? Was it like simply just sending in any tracks that you like and like no limit, or did you have to was it like send 5 tracks only, or did you have to accept things beforehand? How did it all work?
I mean, you could pretty much submit it as many as you wanted before. Like the only requirement for you to actually submit music was you had to subscribe to his Twitch.
Mm-hmm.
Then you go to the about section, and there's like a link that you can use to submit. It used to be like a Dropbox link, and there was no limit. Like you could submit as many as you wanted, but like he was probably only gonna go through like one or two or three. It really depended on like how much he was like liking your tracks and stuff like that. But now like they have a little bit of a different process. It's still the same requirements. Like you have to be subscribed, and then you go into the about section, and they have this app called the Beatbox app, where you can submit your tracks. I think it's a limit of 3 now that you can submit, and then you can say whether it's for you're intending it for an artist, or whether it's for like a movie scene or something like that.
Mm.
Just like whatever your intention is that you think for the track, and then there's like a whole queue, and whenever they get to you, they'll get to you, and I think they play it in the order that the beats are submitted.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, how did you decide which tracks to send over? It must be so hard because you must have like so many to choose from. How did you choose which
Yeah,
one to send?
I mean, like at that time, I guess I could say like the ones I was submitting were like the ones that I had recently made. So like the ones that I sent were the video, like the video that I have on YouTube.
Mm,
Like I had made all of those like probably in the last like couple weeks before he like actually played them on stream. Usually like when I make like something new, that's like the thing that I'm excited about for a while. So like that's usually what I'll do. I'll just send him anything new that like I made. Even though like I might have some old stuff that maybe he'll mess with, but like I get more excited about like the new stuff I made. I always think like or like my goal at least is to try to you know make the last one better than or make the next one better than the last. So
yeah,
yeah,
for
that's
sure. Yeah,
yeah for those. Yeah, that's what I did.
yeah. And when it comes to actually producing your own stuff, do you approach each track the same? Like, for instance, do you like start with say the melody, then the bass, and then the drums, or do you go with drums first and melody? How do you kind of approach these tracks? Or are they all different?
Yeah, it's different every time. I mean, I would be remiss to say like for sure. Like I usually do, or like I used to work with like the sample first. I just try to get like the vibe of the sample, and then like or like the melody, and then kind of let that guide me to where it's gonna
Mm,
go. But like some of those tracks that I sent to Timbaland, I actually started with like the drums first, before like I had found like the right melody for it. I think it's a good way to just like switch it up. It almost gives you like a different idea, like if switch up your process. So I don't know. These days I kind of just go with
yeah,
whatever grabs me first. If I hear like some drums that I really like or some drum sounds I really like, I'll go with that. But if I hear like a sample or that I really like, maybe I'll try to chop it up or do something to manipulate it. Or like even if I'm playing a melody, maybe I want to do that. But I've been sampling like a lot more like lately. I haven't really been doing too many melodies. So
yeah. I
yeah.
mean, how do you find sampling yourself? I know a lot of people find it quite difficult to work with. How do you find sampling?
What do you mean?
If they
Like
like
how do I find it?
like chopping things up or taking like say samples from different beats, how do you find that?
I mean like there's like a lot of different websites out there that have like dope samples. Like you go to like the drum broker, I would say like they probably have like the most stuff. Um I definitely be using like a lot of samples from like Coop the Truth, Nami. Like they're like amazing at what they do in sound design. Um, Definitely Ill Mind, Mario Luciano. He has this polyphonic music library. Like they have like amazing soul samples. Splice even has
Yeah.
like some really dope stuff. There's like a lot of dope samples out there. I mean, sometimes like before I used to like sample a lot of records, but like um, you can go through like a lot of issues trying to clear stuff. So like I kind of just try to go with samples that people send me sometimes because now like there's people that'll send me samples. Or like if I hear something like on Drum Broker or Splice that I really like I'll mess with that. I don't really think that there's any limit. Like wherever you can find like a dope sound, and whatever sparks the inspiration, like that's
Mm,
what I'm gonna go with.
yeah, for sure. I mean, has anything come from your features on Timberland's Beat Club since?
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, I mean, I've had like a few artists reach out to me, and we've been working on some stuff. I don't really want to say who. Like, I mean, the records hopefully they'll be coming out soon. But when they do, you guys should all be aware of
Oh, I
that.
will do for sure. Will do for sure. And did he also reach out to you after the stream, saying like how good your beats were?
What was that? I'm sorry.
And so after the stream itself, did Timberland reach out to you personally to say like well done on your beats? Or
No, not Timbaland. I haven't spoken to Timbaland personally.
yeah,
I have spoken to his co-host Zaid. So like I've spoken to him a couple times, but yeah. To be determined as to what goes down with those beats. Until
yeah.
then, I'll just keep cooking up more.
Please release those ones though. Please, they're just too good. I actually need those beats right now. Please
Yeah,
release
yeah.
it.
No, I know. A lot of people have been asking. I'll probably release those beats like whenever the songs that are gonna be over them actually come out.
Mm.
They're kind of like still in the works at the moment. I don't want to give anybody any dates or anything like that, because when it's ready to go, you guys will get it. But
Brilliant.
yeah.
Do you ever go back to old beats and rework them sometimes as well?
I mean sometimes, but like for me, honestly, like I don't do that like too much. Like I kind of had to be in the moment and feel it right there. Like even if it's like a really like a sample I hear and it's really dope, if I'm kind of working on it and it's not really coming together in the way that like I think so, like I'll probably just scrap it and then like come back to it later. Like I can't tell you how many times like I've come back to like a sample maybe on like the fourth time, the fifth time, sixth time, like whatever time, and like that's the time that I'm gonna get it right. Like it's different, like like you feel different in different types of days. It's like you hear songs that like they really resonate with you one day, that maybe one day they don't really resonate with you. So I kind of like see it the same way in making beats. So like
Mm.
yeah, it's rare that I'll like actually go back to something. Like if I don't finish it there, like I'll probably delete it or I probably won't finish it. Like I'm notorious for that. I gotta stop doing that. People tell me I should save my ideas, but I don't know.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I gotta feel like confident about it.
Mm. Do you turn over beats quite quickly, or do you tend to spend, like, say, a couple of days on a beat, like a week or two? How long does it take you normally, on average, to finish a beat, if you finish it?
Um, it depends on the track, but I mean, I would say like the basis of a track, like I can definitely get it done within like hours. Sometimes it can take longer than that. Like it just really depends on like the track. I mean, like there's some beats I finish in like 5 to 10 minutes. Like I
Mm.
mean, it's like I don't know. Like it's sometimes it just comes together. Sometimes it does. Like I never really know like where it's gonna go. Like when I start making something, I just kind of go with the flow, and however it goes is how it goes.
Mm.
But yeah, I try to get stuff done like now in like the same day. So if that's just one track in one day, or like multiple tracks, like it all depends.
Yeah. And during this time of COVID, I mean, have you been coping okay this whole time as well?
Yeah, I mean, it's
Yeah.
a funny story. I actually had COVID like in the summertime, but
Oh,
it, like
really?
thankfully it wasn't anything too serious. I kind of just felt like I had like allergies. Like if you get allergies like in the springtime, like that's kind of what it felt like for me.
Mm.
And I haven't had like any after effects or anything like that. But yeah, and I had it for like about a month or so. But yeah,
Wow.
well, I think it was less time than that. But like, cause when I had to
Yeah.
get tested again, they're like, I tested positive for the antibodies, but then like I still tested positive for the COVID. But yeah, I don't. Then I had to wait like another 2 weeks to get tested. So like on
Oh,
paper, it was like
yeah.
a month. But what about yourself? How did that go for you?
Yeah. I've been fine, thank you. Like, absolutely fine. Obviously, still locked down, and we're coming out of lockdown hopefully next week. But as of this talk, but we'll see what happens, man. But do you feel like it's kind of changed your work ethic and creativity since being in lockdown, or do you feel the same as before? Really?
Um, I mean, I would say it changed it for sure. I mean, I think COVID provided an opportunity for a lot of people to really sit back and like figure out what it was that they wanted and what they wanted to do.
Mm,
Because there's such this pressure now for everything to be so fast paced.
yeah.
That like people actually had this time to like kind of take that step back and kind of reflect over everything. So for me, what that meant was I had more time than ever to work on production, and like I really tapped in. And it's funny you were asking me about like old production and going back to it, and it's like I keep my old beats just to like see the progression, and I definitely got some gems in there. But I like to see like how far I've come, and like and especially during COVID, like in a short amount of time, I feel like I really like figured out like how to you know take my craft to like that next level.
Mm,
And I think that's why I've been getting the feedback that I've been getting. So yeah, I would say like it definitely like increased my work ethic, if anything.
mm. And are you the type of person that like prefers pressure to and a shorter time to produce stuff, or do you prefer that extra time to really tweak things to perfect everything to what you want?
I mean, I definitely would prefer the latter than the
Yeah.
former. Because I mean, sometimes things can come together quickly, but I'd rather get it right. I understand, like at a certain point, you do have to let it go, because I mean, if you're an artist, I think that it's never truly finished, like in your eyes. So, like I think I heard like that story about Jay-Z, like about Forever Young. They just told him, Blueprint 3, like it's done, like let's go. And I think he said he still like hears things he wants to change in the song, but like I mean, but that's the great thing about streaming now. I mean, look at Kanye, he's dropping albums and changing them after they're released. So I guess I mean you can put it out whenever you want and change it if you want to. But I mean, I would rather wait and then make sure that it's to the standard that I want it to before I put it out there.
Yeah, for sure.
And on that, I'm going to finish right there. I think it's a brilliant way to finish. But Danny, I can't thank you enough for today's podcast. We loved it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, man. I appreciate it.
Anytime, man. And where can people find you, by the way, online as well, just in case?
Oh yeah, so you can find me on Instagram.com. It's @_ Danny Ives. That's DANNYIVES. It's the same on Twitter, and I believe it should be the same on SoundCloud and YouTube. So just stay tapped in there. I definitely got a lot more content coming, and some new music coming very soon. With some artists I've been working with. So yeah, just stay tapped in on my socials and YouTube, and all the information will be right there.
Oh, perfect, man. Thank you so much. Danny, it was an absolute pleasure. Thank you, man. Take care.
Yeah, a pleasure as well, man. Take care.
You too, man. Take care. Bye-bye, everyone.